Too often we think there's just one way to grow a business. Grind outbound sales, pump money into ads, build a massive content machine. But the best businesses, they stack multiple growth models to create unstoppable momentum. In today's episode, I'm going to break down the top growth models used by billion-dollar companies and large local companies as well to show you which ones you should use or can use to grow your business. And I'll even break down which ones we use at Guru and Underdog Digital to help you figure out what the right mix is for you and your company. You know, I often see entrepreneurs throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying different things, fishing in 20 different ponds. Look, we want to help you get clarity on your way to growing your business and make sure you're fishing only in the right ponds, only where the fish are. So we're going to walk through not any fluff, not any BS, just real proven strategies you can use to help grow your company. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Matt Vady, and welcome to Growth Models. All right, when I started, I thought there was only one way to grow a business, and that was sell, sell, sell. I came from a sales background, so outbound sales and pounding the pavement, knocking on doors felt like the only way to grow. I put no value in marketing. I put no value in other growth strategies. I thought, hey, pure blunt force, hammering on doors, picking up the phone is the only way to grow a business. But I learned over time that there are really multiple growth models that we need to stack on top of one another that complement each other. And if we are only focused on one, then we're doomed to fail. I mean, think about it. Netflix didn't just sell DVDs, they built a recurring revenue model. And so that recurring revenue made it where they didn't just have to sell once, right? If I went into Blockbuster, I went in and I rented that DVD one time and then I had to keep coming back to rent over and over again. They took a normal business model and they turned it on its side a little bit and turned it into a recurring revenue model. And again, HubSpot, Innovator, didn't just do sales, they pioneered inbound marketing. So they created what is now an entire category for all of us in organic growth by creating inbound marketing, providing templates, resources, blogs to help others with their marketing. And Elon Musk, while he's making a ton of headlines now in Doge, he's turned founder-led branding into a billion-dollar growth engine for multiple companies. Think about it. When is the last time you saw a Tesla commercial? You haven't. They don't have any. He is their primary source of branding. So for me, I get stuck oftentimes in chasing shiny objects. The more you've listened, the more you will listen, the more you will learn that I am an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. I love a new thing. I love testing things. I love playing. I love tinkering. And sometimes that can be challenging because I'll get on one flavor for a while for marketing, get on one flavor for a little while for the sales team, get on one flavor for the support team. And it can make it confusing for me and the team. So what I've done over time is I've learned how to stay focused. And to me, that word focus is really important because if the acronym for focus is follow one course until success. So for us, if we're going to test, whether it's just a simple marketing campaign or a complete adjustment to our go-to-market strategy, we're going to test it for an extended period of time. It's not going to be a quick in and out because we want to follow that course until there is success. And we plan to make sure that that happens. So one of the things that I've learned over time is that we have to stack these multiple growth models. At Guru, we combine founder-led branding, partnerships, we have a recurring revenue model, and we're looking at M&A and AI automation. This lets us scale without burning or throwing money at bad leads and keeps our ability to acquire customers as low as possible. But let's look at what the 6 growth models are, and then this might start to make a little bit more sense in terms of what your company uses today, and you might not even know what it's called or how to refer to it. So I'm going to break down the 6 growth models, and then we'll look at, what the focus are, what some revenue structures are, and some companies that use each of these growth models when they go to market. So first up is organic growth. This is just attracting customers naturally via content, community, or branding. Example of companies that do it this way are HubSpot. through their content, Slack with product-led growth, Tesla with their founder-led branding. This can be a little bit more indirect. Customers come to you via inbound methods, but even then, you still may have a sales motion internally once they get there. So HubSpot's a great example in that they create a ton of content, they bring in a bunch of organic leads, but then you talk to a salesperson eventually. It used to be you would go to the website and just sign up. I don't think you're doing anything without talking to a salesperson anymore at HubSpot. At least that's not been my experience. Next up is sales-driven growth. So this is acquiring customers through outbound partnerships or high-touch sales. Like I described earlier, this was my career before I started Guru, picking up the phone 100 times a day, drop days out in the field where I'm going to visit 25 different businesses in a day, the good old days, baby. These are for one-time or high-ticket sales that could have contracts. It requires a direct sales team, cold outreach, and or channel partners. So companies that have mastered this, Salesforce, Oracle, Microsoft and their partner sales, which is we could do a huge case study on Microsoft's partner and platform sales. And at Guru, we do this a combination of two. We do outbound and we do partnerships, are primarily partnerships, so much more over outbound. Next up is viral and network growth. So this one is a little less common. You have to have that built-in virality to your product or service, but this is growing via referrals, incentives, or network effects. So the most obvious use case that's always used, almost abused at this point, is the Dropbox example. So Dropbox, used to have the deal where invite 3 friends, get 50 gigs of storage for free or whatever the deal was. You think back to Gmail in the early days where, it was Hotmail had a little tagline in the bottom of the email. This email was sent via Hotmail. Click here to create your own Hotmail account. There's built-in virality occasionally. You do have LinkedIn as another example of a current product that does this really well. There's network effects to it. The networks continue to grow. The more you hear about your peers being on it, the more you hear about somebody else getting a job from there, the more likely you are to sign up for an account. So far, we've got 3 of the 6. We've got organic growth, sales-driven growth, viral, and network growth. Next up is paid growth. So this is using ads, affiliates, or paid channels to acquire customers. Typically, this would be things like Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Twitter ads. Examples of companies that have grown really quickly through this. Gymshark is a company that has put a ton of money into performance ads and done a fantastic job building out their funnels. Allbirds is another one that I see in my feed all the time on Facebook. Tons and tons of ads. You see a lot of apparel companies growing via ads. Once you've clicked on one, you're going to start to see more similar to it. Amazon, through its affiliate channels, it pays for people to grow their product. So these paid channels bring in new customers, new leads. This is something that we use at Underdog a little bit more. We have far more success with paid ads at Underdog than we do with Guru. Simply because our value prop is much more concise and easy to consume in a feed than what it might be for Guru. All right, so mergers and acquisitions, roll-up opportunities, scaling through acquisitions, or even potentially franchising. So you can buy revenue or customers instead of building it from scratch. There's tons of examples of this. M&A in our space is hot as can be right now. McDonald's for franchising is a good example. HubSpot acquired companies like The Hustle. They continue to grow through tons and tons of acquisitions. You don't need to look far to find M&A strategy. Obviously, a bunch of limitations there. But the beautiful thing about it is, instead of spending a year with 5 salespeople pounding on doors to generate 1 to 1.5 million in sales, I can buy a book of business, add that top line straight away. Obviously, there's never that simple. A whole bunch of nuance that goes into that. But M&A and roll-up growth is number 5. And then finally, number 6 is recurring revenue and retention. So keeping and expanding customers via subscriptions or upsells. And you're seeing this more and more. The subscription world has, taken over these boxes, things that you can order. I see all the time, like my son plays baseball. There's a bunch of these baseball boxes that you can get that show up every month. Netflix is a good example, like I talked about earlier. Instead of just buying or renting a DVD one time, pay me every single month and watch everything you want. AWS, they've got a big time land and expand model. If you're on AWS, you know there's a ton of opportunities in the retention. It's very sticky. It's hard to get rid of. And there's great built-in upsells. Guru and Underdog, both of our businesses, we firmly believe in recurring revenue. We don't do a lot of one-off revenue unless it's really makes strategic sense for us. But these are the big 6 ways you can grow your business. And so I would encourage you as you look at these, say, hey, which of these make the most sense for me and how I want to grow? But more importantly, how do I stack a couple of them? I look at organic growth as sort of a must-have. We need to keep it going. It needs to be a constant pulse. I need to have focus, time, and energy on SEO and organic content and building a community. And in smaller companies, I really like to see this start with the founder, because people will rally much more around a founder, their ideology, their backstory, where they came from, before they will a brand. So building a brand on the back of your founder in the early days, especially, and I say in the early days, we're doing it 10 years in, it works really well for us, but organic growth, you'll notice a whole lot faster growth when you put a founder out there than when you try to put a new brand out there. Growth model number 2, again, the sales-driven growth. This is one I firmly believe in. For B2B, you have to be there. You've got to stop being scared, especially if you're one of these early founders who's just getting started. Pick up the phone. This is the one that everybody's going to try to say, oh, well, what about paid growth? And what about, what's something else I can do other than sales-driven growth? Well, in the early days, the fastest path to revenue in a B2B world is sales-driven growth. Pick up the phone, go knock on a door, go to events, go see people, go have conversations, be aggressive, be committed, and follow a plan every single day. And that is your fastest path to revenue. Because guess what? Sales cures all ails, and nothing happens until somebody sells something. So don't be scared. Go out there, make some things happen. And I'm curious, what are the growth strategies that your company currently follows? But if you could add one from this mix, what would it be? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really excited to be with you on this journey as you continue to grow your business and identify the ways that you can grow faster. Thanks again for joining me. If you enjoyed this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow along as I continue to share more observations, case studies, proven strategies for you to grow your business. Thanks.